Hey everyone, I'm Rachel, and today on Crack Your Bible, we are going to put Genesis 5 off until Wednesday because this morning at I think 1:30 in the morning, I was watching ADV China, which is a show where an American and a South African who happen to live in China ride around on their motorcycles and they talk about Chinese culture. Now, my husband's first language was Mandarin, or it is Mandarin. So, yes, my husband is Asian. His family is from Taiwan. So, I love this channel because I kind of learned some stuff about Asian culture. I was watching ADV China this morning and they were talking about Amazon in China. Now, you have to remember that Amazon is the largest e-commerce website in the world currently. And you also have Taobao, you have Alibaba, but Amazon is the largest. Now, China is the most populated country in the world. So you have the biggest website and the biggest country population-wise coming together, and this is what they talked about. Now, I did not know anything about this topic before 1:30 in the morning today. So bear with me. What time is it? It's almost 2 p.m. on May 1st. So I decided I'm going to delve into this and look into it because something they said in this video sparked something in my spirit. Now, we know that in the last days that nobody will be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast. Now, whenever you have a program, first you beta test it so that you can kind of get out the kinks, see what's wrong with it, and then you roll it out for everybody else. Now, here's the thing. Amazon China, which is amazon.cn, they require you to input your Chinese ID number to buy or sell on that website. So if you're a foreigner, you don't have a Chinese ID number, so you can't buy or sell. And I looked online to see if this was true, and what shocked me even more is has been going on for like 2 or 3 years at least. So there's definitely a two-tier system in China where you have native-born Chinese and then you have foreigners, everybody else. And there's definitely like a different standard for foreigners, different laws that apply. And we know from what I've already talked about in the Bible last week, you can't have different laws for foreigners. In the Bible, you need to treat people the same. Now, I talked about assimilation and how that if a foreigner came into Israel, they had to abide by Israel's laws. The Bible also talks about being fair to foreigners and not being biased against them, like in lawsuits or whenever you need to go before a judge, because that would be wrong. And you can't have different laws saying, okay, native-born citizens, they can use these e-commerce websites, but non-foreign-born people, even if they're married to a Chinese citizen, sorry, you can't use this. What this shows is not only are they extremely xenophobic, but this is a beta test for something. What it is a beta test for how do people deal with the mark of the beast. Now, Amazon and the Chinese government, they're both at fault here. You can't just point the finger at one and not the other because they're working in conjunction with each other. And you see this with other big companies like Facebook or Google, where they'll filter stuff out that the Chinese government doesn't want their citizens to have access to. So, yes, American companies are a party to the oppression of Chinese people. The thing is they are beta testing one of the big markers of the Antichrist, that you will not be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast. So if they can get the biggest country population-wise, they can manage to make sure that people are not buying and selling without a Chinese ID card. It's not too hard to see where they will be able to roll this out with smaller population countries until you get the whole world where they will not be able to buy or sell e-commerce wise without this mark Now, I looked into what makes up a Chinese ID card, and the scariest thing is it's unencrypted. And that means that anybody can steal your information with a card reader, but it has your fingerprint on there. It has your date of birth. It has your birthplace or wherever that card was issued when they first decided to roll out these cards. And it has your photo on it. So you already have biometrics in this card, and it's used sort of like a social security card, but for way more things than a social security card is used for in the United States. And a social security card is not linked to all these other biometrics like it is in China. There's no photo on them, there's no fingerprint, it's just your name and a number. But yeah, I definitely see this as a beta test. And remember, I've already talked about how Amazon in Seattle has a beta test store right now through RFID chips where you don't have to go to a cashier, you don't go to self-checkout, you sign in with your phone, you scan it at the door, and then based on the proximity of, I guess, your phone, and then these RFID chips all over different items that you can purchase, you put them in your bag, you walk out the door, and Amazon bills your account immediately. Again, Amazon is beta testing these big programs that coincide with promises made by Jesus about what it would be like when the Antichrist comes on the scene. And right now we're just in beta test. And when beta test rolls out, the real thing isn't too far away. Now, we also know that the Temple Institute in Israel right now, they have all of the articles for service in a new temple already made. They have everything. The censers for incense, they have the tapestries, they have the musical instruments. I believe they already have the red heifer, but they don't have the temple. And we know that that needs to be built before the Antichrist comes in and does the sacrifice, which is the abomination of desolation, which is the sacrifice of a pig in this temple, and then he declares himself God. So you need to recognize signs. And I think a lot of Christians feel, oh, this isn't going to happen in our lifetime. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. You need to be aware. Things are in beta test right now. No buying, no selling without this number. And who controls the number? The government. And if the Antichrist is in charge of the government and you don't meet these parameters, even in a country like China, which we associate being like the Wild West, like very unregulated, unscrupulous, if they can impose those kind of standards in China, what makes you think that they won't impose them here in the West? Which brings me to something else that got brought up into my mind, because 2 days ago, Stefan Molyneux, I'm going to put a link down below, was interviewing Ezra Levant, and they were talking about Justin Trudeau. And in 2013, Justin Trudeau was asked, what is your favorite country besides Canada? Because Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada. And he said China. And he said because of their basic dictatorship, because it allows them to get things done. So you have a Western leader of a Western country in North America saying that his favorite country is China because of the dictatorship that they have there. So these are the kind of leaders and the kind of people that our leaders, our Western leadership, aspire to be like. That's what they look up to and like. So if you think that it's just going to be sequestered and, oh, it's China and that's how it is because it's a dictatorship, oh, communism, don't think that it's not going to come to the United States, because our leaders in power here love that kind of stuff because it's evil, because it's wicked. And Satan is all about having power and dominion over people. That's what he wants. And don't be so naive as to think that it's not going to happen here. Oh, it's never going to happen here. Oh, I live in the West. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. It's in beta test. It will happen to you. Don't delude yourself into thinking that this will not happen here, because it will. Jesus promised it, and we can see the signs that overseas, they're testing it right now. So just something to think about. I would like you to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you on Wednesday where we will be talking about Genesis 4 and 5, and we're going to be talking more about technology and how people interact with it between those who are evil and those who are godly. So I will see you on Wednesday, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.